My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask you for pardon of my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, St. Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Most people have experienced what might be described as a watershed moment, a moment in life after which nothing is ever quite the same again. And we all have them. People sometimes ask, where were you when you heard the news? Or do you remember the moment everything changed? It might be the birth of a child, or the death of someone we love, a diagnosis, a vocation discovered, all sorts of things, even a kind of resolution maybe to a difficulty that we've been bearing for many years. Whatever form it takes, a watershed moment divides our life into a before and an after. It marks a time when everything changes. Well, Jesus, as we come to you in prayer during this octave of Easter, we're fully aware that there is a moment that did change everything forever, the moment of your resurrection from the dead. It was the ultimate watershed moment. Absolutely nothing remained the same afterwards. Those very first Christians following you, and we ourselves, all these years later, inhabit a completely different world as a result of the events that we've been commemorating over the last few days. And the appearance of the resurrected Jesus to Mary Magdalene at the tomb, which we hear in the Gospel today, is an image that's very familiar. Numerous artists have tried to depict the scene on canvas with the accompanying Latin phrase, noli me tangere, touch me not. It's a moment of tenderness, mystery, and revelation. And Lord, two questions arise from this encounter between Mary and you. First of all, why did Mary fail to recognize you? Why did Mary, who had spent so much time with you, and from whom you had driven out 7 devils, why did she mistake you for the gardener of all people? And secondly, Lord, when you do eventually reveal yourself, why do you tell Mary not to touch you? Noli me tangere. Well, we know that Mary had been crying a lot. She was weeping beside the tomb. And crying makes people visually a bit blurred. We just can't see properly. So this could be one reason. Tears distort our vision, not only physically, but spiritually. Grief narrows our view. Another practical explanation could be that Mary Magdalene, and indeed all of the disciples, were simply not expecting the resurrection. In spite of all the teaching and preparation they had received, they didn't really understand that this was going to happen. And therefore, when we're not expecting something, we don't immediately recognize it. There used to be quite a well-known television personality who regularly came to a church where I used to celebrate Mass, and he was able to come and go without being recognized, mainly because people don't expect to see someone like that at their local church, or anywhere for that matter. We don't tend to see what we're not expecting to see. But Mary's lack of recognition could also reflect the idea that things have now changed. So much that she needs to be introduced gently and gradually into a completely new realm of existence. Things can never be the same again. Perhaps the reason Mary is told not to touch Jesus is to temper that very human desire for everything to be just as they were before. She longs for the familiar companionship she once had. But things are different. Yes, it's the same Lord, but he's transformed. And she too can be transformed if she allows it. She's deprived of that easy comfort of simply clinging on to the familiar. And now she's given that great new mission to be the first witness of the resurrection to the apostles. Go to my brethren and tell them that I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God. Sometimes, Jesus, you give us tangible things to comfort us and strengthen us in our faith. And then at other times, you remove these things from us completely. You require us to develop a more supernatural outlook. And often we need to let go of things that we're deeply attached to, our plans, our ideas, sometimes even our way of praying, but always with the desire to enter into a deeper relationship with you, Lord, and to be a more effective witness of the resurrection. Well, then comes the turning point in this whole scene. Something unlocks in Mary. The moment she hears her name spoken by the Lord, grief gives way to recognition. Confusion gives way to faith. Names are obviously very important. Knowing someone's name changes everything. We enter into a relationship with someone when we know their name. Think of Adam naming all the creatures around him in the book of Genesis. He gives names to the cattle, the birds of the air, and every beast of the field. And then finally, he names his wife, Eve. When someone or something is named, then they have an identity and an existence that is recognized. But Jesus, when you call us by name, something changes very deeply inside us. Not only are we recognized, but we're loved by you, the source of all love. When you use our name, we become most truly ourselves, because there's a sense in which we need to be loved into being. And Jesus, the tone of your voice is unmistakable. We know that it is you when you speak to us. Mary is not only recognized and named, she is sent. The moment she hears her name, she turns and she's given a mission. Being called by name is never merely for our own consolation. Jesus gives Mary this great gift so that she can go to the apostles and announce the good news. And the same's true for us. When the Lord calls us by name, he draws us into his intimacy for a purpose. He trusts us with the task of making him known to the people around us. May Our Lady, the Mother of the Lord, help us in our mission to proclaim the resurrection to the people around us, our families, our places of work, our friendships. And may we bring joy and peace to the people around us. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this time of prayer. I ask you for help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, St. Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.